let's move on to fixing the front pockets. All right, but before then, let's apply gum here. You can see this place where I open there. I'm going to close the back with a gum. That's suit gum I'm using to close it back. All right, and make sure that it's properly closed. There is no gap. I'm going to use this small gum by the side here, and also the fitting the dart there. I'm still going to close the top of it, the end part of it with a small gum. All right, that's it there. So I think we have to move to the next thing. All right, and the next thing is for us to identify the pocket, mark out the pocket, and fix it. So for us to mark out our pocket, this is right here. I'm going to show us the position, how the pocket is going to be. Please carefully pay attention and watch closely. Now if we see the fitting in front here, the fitting line here, okay, the pocket is going to come forward. You see, I've zoomed in so they can see it clearly. The pocket will come forward half an inch into the front across that fitting line. You can see, look at the fitting line here. The length of the pocket itself is 5.5 inches. 5.5 inches. That's the wideness of the pocket. But you can see I marked it here, half inch, crossing the fitting line into the front. And I'm going to mark my 5.5 that side. All right. So I'm going to extend this line down. Okay. And I'll still extend this side. Then I'll get a horizontal line cutting across that opening there. Hope this is clear enough and you can see it clearly. So the next thing for us to do now is these are our pocket turners. Okay, I cut it to be about 2.25 inch wide, length of 7 point something, 0.2, and I went ahead to fold it by half an inch, as you can see there. So these are our pocket turners. Okay, this is what we're going to use to stitch our pocket. As you can see, when I'm stitching this, okay, I'm going to stitch on a 1/4 inch allowance. You just have to watch closely how I'm going to place them. Let's go to the machine. Just pay attention how I'm going to place this. You can see the way I'm placing it. I'm going to stitch it on a 1/4 inch allowance. Now look at this blue suit I have here. Can you see? This is what we're trying to achieve. Can you see it? This is what we're trying to achieve. So just pay close attention as we achieve it on the wine color. All right. So now the target is this. I'm going to sew it. Look at, I'm keeping it on this opening. All right. And I'm going to start stitching on a 1/4 inch. I'll stitch a straight line on a 1/4 inch allowance, just a 1/4 inch allowance, and I will be ensure that it is on 1/4 inch allowance, 1/4 inch allowance, straight down. I'm going to stitch it. You can see the where I placed it on the opening, but I'm not going to stitch on that opening directly. I will stitch beside that opening. Okay, just watch. You understand what I'm doing here. starting from that line, I'll end on this line, and that gives me a length of 5.5 inches. I'm taking time here because I want you guys to get it. Okay, please just try as much as you can to get it, because if you don't get it, it means the whole of the front piece is a waste. You see, I'm keeping it to be touching that opening there, but my stitch is beside the opening. Please take note. So you can see I'm maintaining a wideness of a 1/4 inch allowance. I'll stop at this point where the mark is. Okay, it's a 1/4 inch allowance. So I'm going to stitch the second one now. So now, while stitching the second one, I'm targeting something. Since both sides I'm going to stitch on 1/4 inch, the middle there, the allowance I'm leaving there should be what? 1/2 inch. Since I'm stitching this point, this side on a 1/4 inch, so I'm adjusting to ensure that I'm adjusting the material to ensure that the allowance in the middle is exactly 1/2 inch. I'm starting on that line there. I will ensure that the allowance I have in the middle is exactly 1/2 inch, because I stitch that side 1/4 inch. I'm also stitching this side 1/4 inch. 1/4 plus 1/4 will give you 1/2. So the gap in between should be what? 1/2 inch. So that when I turn this, you can watch where I'm stopping. So that when I turn these pocket turners in and they come to meet, just watch. They will now take care of that 1/2 inch I'm leaving in the middle. I'll show you. Most definitely I'll show you. Now look at the allowance I have in the middle here. It's exactly 1/2 inch. Can you see? Exactly 1/2 inch. I will turn from behind. You also see it there. Look at this allowance here. I'll measure it for you to see. It's exactly what? 1/2 inch. 1/2 inch. Just watch. Can you see? It's 1/2 inch. Alright. So now watch closely how I am going to turn this. This is where it also matters. How I am going to tear it, okay? Watch closely how I am going to make a cut on this. So just watch carefully. Watch carefully. Now, you see where I began to stitch, alright? Where I began to stitch, when I'm making this notch, it will get very close to the first stitch I made here. Look closely here. But the notch will not touch that stitch. If it touches the stitch, the pocket will spoil. So the notch will come close to where I made that stitch. But you can see, I'll show you. Don't worry, I'll still show you. The notch will not touch that stitch. I'll make the notch to come very close to the stitch, the first stitch there, but it won't touch the stitch. So you can see how it came very close, but it didn't touch the stitch. Can you see? It came close, but it didn't touch it. So it shouldn't. It can, once it touches it, the pocket would spoil. All right. And if you are good with making double wet pockets, you're already good with this. You can make back pocket of any trouser. It means you don't have a challenge. You can see the pocket how it's looking now. Now I'm going to match it by the side. So if you're already good with making pockets on a trouser, on a plain trouser, you will not have a challenge with this. If you are good with making a single width pocket, a double width pocket, you cannot have a challenge with this. Okay, so watch closely. You see, watch closely how, don't allow it to overlap. Okay, the pocket turners, don't allow them to overlap on each other. Let them be separate. That's what I'm trying to show you there. So you can see I'm going to easily match by the sides. Match by the sides carefully. Carefully. So we are done with that side. Let me show you how it's looking. Can you see? Very simple and straightforward. Can you see that? So let's match the second side too. Guys, like I said, this is very simple. Ensure that while matching these pocket turners, none of them laps the other. They shouldn't overlap. They should kiss each other. It's a kissing kind of stitching, okay? Both pocket, turners are coming together to kiss each other, not to overlap on each other. So watch carefully. I'll show you. You see, nothing should overlap the other. You can imagine they're just kissing together. That's how it should be. I'll press it and you see it much more better. When I take it to the table and we apply heat to it, well, you can see it's very clean and very, good looking. So you can see I've applied heat to it. You can see how flat it's looking and simple. Please, guys, if you make a mistake on this, your front piece will be a waste. So the wideness is 5.5, like we said. So I'm going now to cut our pocket flap. You can see this is 8 inches long by a width of almost 4 inches. I've applied my sewing gum to it. So this is what you use for the pocket flap, and that is the lining we are using there. Okay, so we'll come to the machine and we'll stitch down, and just watch how I'm going to stitch it. So we'll stitch that side and below here, just like I've marked. So watch carefully how I'm going to stitch it. And then stitching below here, I'm going to show you something. Just a style, okay? You can actually stitch it normal flat, but I want to make it a little style. So you see, I am going to shift this lining in a bit, okay, because I want my pocket. Look at the design I'm showing you. If we turn this in from under, you see the lining is like coming halfway, the fabric is halfway. That's why I'm pushing the lining in that way, right? So if you want it like that, you can just push the lining in a bit, like 1 inch or 1.5 or 2 inches, anyhow you want it. If you want, you can still leave it to be normal, but I want it to be stylish, okay? That's why I'm doing that. So I'll just stitch it like that, so that the fabric turns in a little before the lining joins down to the end. And the wideness, remember, is 5.5 inches. So I'm going to mark my 5.5 inches exactly, and I'll stitch there. Maybe at times I add like 0.0, okay, so that the pocket will cover very well. 0.1 rather, so that the pocket will cover very well. So even this one, instead of 5.5, I'm using 5. I'm stitching on 5.6. I'll still mark here my 5.6. 5.6. All right, and I'll stitch to that point. You see. So the next thing is for us to turn over, go to the table, iron it, and our pocket flap is good to go. So you see, I'm going to turn it carefully. Use the tip of your scissors to push it out properly. The other side, I'll turn it. Just watch, I'm turning it. Can you see that? Now push it out. And when you turn it like this, when you turn it like this, even without using your scissors, you can see the edge coming out very sharp. You can see where it's pointed. So now the next thing for us to do is to apply water, press it, and we are good to go. Yeah. Guys, like I said, if you have any question, please feel free to drop your questions, and I'll do my best to attend to your questions. All right. So this is it, okay? Use a piece to press it well. All right, so let's see what we have here, if this is actually fitting to this pocket. All right. Wow, guys, this is it. You can see it's so on point, so on point. Okay, but we'll remove it and mark the wideness of the pocket, how wide we want the pocket to be, the pocket flap. Okay, let's see how wide we want it to be. We want it to be having a wideness of 1 3/4 inch, 1 3/4 inch. 2 inches flap used to be a bit too wide, so I'll join these 2 points together. And the next thing I'll do is now to take my pocket, fix it right here, and make sure that line enters inside, and I will stop. Can you see? So for this pocket to stay together, for me to go stitch it on the machine, I'll have to apply hemming gum be at the back of it, behind it. So watch carefully how I open it. See the way I pressed it before opening, so that the pocket doesn't shake. Okay, so I'll apply my hemming gum here. Close it back. Open it and adjust it. Make sure it's still how it's supposed to be. Okay, can you see that? Then I'll go ahead and do what? Press it carefully and iron it. Okay, where's my iron? Alright guys, you can see I'm applying heat to melt the hemming gum so that the pocket will not lose the shape while I stitch it. Let's press it. Remember guys, when you're pressing your material, adding water helps to make it stretchy and flat the way you want. So let's see. Ta-da! It's our pocket. Oh my god, this is powerful. Alright guys, so we can now go to the machine and stitch our pocket. You can see behind. So let's go to the machine and see what we can do about this pocket. Alright guys, I believe you didn't waste your money paying for this class. So you see, we are going to first of all run a top stitch to firmly and permanently hold the pocket flap together with the body of the front piece. So let's bring in our material for the pocket and stitch it. You can see I've cut this material with a length of 13 inches, 13 and a half, and wideness of 7 and a half. So this should be able to cover this pocket very well. So just watch how I'm going to stitch it. Okay, simple like this. Yeah, so we'll turn it this way. Just watch and you will understand. It's quite simple. So let's make sure everything is okay. Everything should be aligned properly, and then we'll stitch it. We'll turn it over, turn by the side rather. Stitch coming down here, we'll stitch it a bit roundish. Can you see this? And guys, we are done as far as our pocket is concerned. So alright guys, so as you can see, we are done with the pocket. It's as simple as that. Okay, I'm just going to trim off the excess allowance on both sides and the top here. We don't actually need this allowance. Alright, so you can see this is our pocket now. By the time I press it, you will see it. Okay, if you're interested in this class, it's available. Let me know and I'll add your